Welcome to A Lovely Wallpaper, a podcast exploring an underappreciated way of appreciating poetry by committing it to memory. To know a poem by heart means having a worry stone, a provocation, a comfort, a quick exit, always close at hand. Lose yourself in a poem, gain a world with its mastery.
The art of losing, it sounds hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that a loss is no disaster.
So today I am revisiting the Southern California Renaissance Pleasure Fair, site of episode 10, in which I interviewed the Falconer Talon Knight and presented for memory An Eagle for an Emperor by Dame Juliana Berners. This year, I'm back and I am roving and conscripting an assortment of characters to take a look at Robert Herrick's very short poem, Dreams. The Ren Fair is fertile ground for poetry to go roaming free of its modern-day niches. That and, wow, it's an event all about imagining a time period when the literacy rate was low and oral tradition was everything. Even amongst the literate, books were rare and precious, so practices to scaffold and strengthen the memory abounded. The learned built memory palaces and designed images to load with breadcrumbs for learning and reciting their most beloved texts. I'm not going to pretend, though, that this is an historian's event. There is a visual garbling of hundreds of years here, wherein the Middle Ages and Renaissance become one in the same. There are pirates and fairies and steampunks. I can't pretend it is a literary one either, with Shakespeare and Dungeons and Dragons all kind of mashed up together. What interests me most, though, is the pageantry, the waking dream of it all. The trying on new clothes, new roles, new language. I love this event because Los Angeles is starved for people watching. Just the other week, I was thinking about this dearth as I read a beautiful and lonely passage from Christopher Isherwood's A Single Man. Here it is. Up the coast a few miles north, in the lava reef under the cliffs, there are a lot of rock pools. You can visit them when the tide is out. Each pool is separate and different, and you can, if you are fanciful, give them names such as George, Charlotte, Kenny, Mrs. Strunk. Just as George and the others are thought of for convenience as individual entities, so you may think of a rock pool as an entity, though of course it is not. The waters of its consciousness, so to speak, are swarming with hunted anxieties, grim-jawed greeds, dartingly vivid intuitions, old crust-shelled, rock-gripping obstinacies, deep-down sparkling undiscovered secrets, ominous protean organisms motioning mysteriously, perhaps warningly, toward the surface light. How can such a variety of creatures coexist at all? Because they have to. The rocks of the pool hold their world together, and throughout the day of the ebb tide, they know no other. But that long day ends at last, yields to the nighttime of the flood, and just as the waters of the ocean come flooding, darkening over the pools, so over George and the others in sleep come the waters of that other ocean. That consciousness that is no one in particular, but which contains everyone and everything past, present, and future, and extends unbroken beyond the uttermost stars. We may surely suppose that in the darkness of the full flood, some of these creatures are lifted from their pools to drift far out over the deep waters. But do they ever bring back, when the daytime of the ebb returns, any kind of catch with them? Can they tell us in any manner about their journey? Is there indeed anything for them to tell, except that the waters of the ocean are not really other than the waters of the pool? So I headed off to the Renaissance Fair and its collective waking dream in order to bump up against, the teeming mass of anemones and sea squirts, or gnomes and princesses and plague doctors, or whoever else comes creeping out of this giant and isolating city. A little about the format of this episode here. I am roving and talking for a few minutes apiece to people involved in the different guild houses and groups that pepper the fair. These are the people who are living it. Everyone stays in character, everyone engages with the poetry of Robert Herrick as they read work from his gigantic 1,200-poem collection, Hesperides. A jeweler will tell us about her apprenticeship and read The Amber Bead. A beekeeper will read The Honeycomb. A puritan will read Leprosy in Clothes. Everyone I talk to will read the very short poem Dreams, which reverses Isherwood's intimation that human consciousness is separate waking and melded dreaming. To Herrick, our lives are lived together, and in dreams we are thrown apart into separate worlds. No matter what this says about the different eras of Isherwood's 20th century novel and Herrick's 17th century poem, no matter how the collective consciousness gels and fractures, the Renaissance Fair is a waking dream, a cooperative hallucination. Hello, I see you're wearing a leather apron. Can you tell me a little bit about that part of your costume and who you are?
Sure. So the leather apron was actually just gifted to me upon this morning. My master Sotheby gifted it to me so that I may feel like a real jewellery smith apprentice, as he said. My name is Mordecai. I come from Ireland originally. I have a family over there. Mordecai Fairchild, if we're being technical.
Morka, that's an unusual name. How did you come by it?
Well, it were actually a chosen name. It does mean sea warrior. And I chose it because I wanted to go sailing. And I were born as Mary Fairchild. And they kept telling me that I were not allowed to go sailing. And I decided that were not true. So Mary has not been seen for a while, and Mordecai gets to go on adventures around the world and is now a decorated sailor and gets to come home to her uncle and her auntie and adorn them with gifts and stories and take comfort both in home and the ocean, and she has never been happier.
A solid choice, Mordecai.
Gramercy. My cousin Rory, he got involved in some shenanigans with a group called the Dark Lighters. And those shenanigans went poorly. And so we were taken under their wing, as it were, and told that we were to sail under Sir Thomas Cavendish for a couple of years. Sir Thomas Cavendish circumnavigated the world. He was the first person to do it on purpose, and we were able to follow him. My cousin Rory is the master gunner. I myself am the master navigator. And we returned to England with so much Spanish gold and silver in our ballasts that we had to remove our stones, and the Queen herself came to dine with us, most likely because she didn't want Sir Thomas Cavendish to be the richest person in England at the time. Now I am here at Port Deptford. I am taking a bit of a leave until we sail again, and I am learning apprenticeship under Master Sotheby so that I may have a trade and learn how to sell jewellery and appraise as I go travel the world again.
You sell jewelry just, or you make it as well?
At the moment, I'm not allowed to accept money because of my apprenticeship, so I will be selling it eventually once I leave port, but that won't be for a little bit of time, and I have plenty to learn.
Do you work amongst the jewels that are involved in your apprenticeship with amber?
I believe amber is a possibility. It's quite lovely. Master Sotheby has quite the array of selections. I do believe amber is likely on the list. At the moment, I've only worked with fluorite because it's soft and I am just beginning. I believe my next task is lapis lazuli, and I have personally requested aquamarine to be worked with because it is a stone I'm quite fond of. It is quite rare, and it does happen to fall within my birthday.
Morka, are you literate?
I am. I have to be. I'm the master navigator aboard Sir Thomas Cavendish's ship. If I weren't literate, we wouldn't be here.
Would you go ahead and read this poem for me, The Amber Bead by Robert Herrick?
I would love to. I saw a fly within a bead of amber cleanly buried. The urn was little, but the room more rich than Cleopatra's tomb.
Thank you, Morka. Would you also read to me one more very short poem by Robert Herrick? This one here called Dreams.
Aye. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled. By dreams, each one into a several world. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled. By dreams, each one into a several world.
Hello, I see that you have a pot full of sand and feathers. Can you tell me a little bit about that and about yourself?
Aye, that I do. I am the pen maker of St. Cuthbert's Guild, and I make feathers into pens. The feathers here in the pot have been cleaned, they're bleached, and then they are put into the sand when the sand be about 250, so it is warm, but not too hot or it will crisp. And so when they come out of the sand, when the sand is cooled, they have been hardened, tempered, so that then they'll be ready to be cut into pens. I take the feathering, this be the softest feathering, it be the down, and I take that and put it into a pot. And then I take the feathering off, I put it into another pot, so that I can use it later to be made into pillows. The feathering comes off so that one does have a hand's breadth to not be involved in the ink, for that stains your hands. The inside has been cleaned out. I do use special tools that I have learned. The jeweler over at St. Ives, he doth help me learn what the tools are. And so they go in to the inside to clean out all the debris. You can see some of that still coming out.
Is there a name for this copper tool?
Other than pen maker tools, I know not what would be another name. It did take us 2 years to find out what the tools actually were with trial and error, for there is no description in them of the books. The only one that I have been able to find as a description would be the pen knife. And those you can find and learn about and learn to use. So then it be cleaned and ready to be made into a pen. And those who know how to write would put their own nibs upon the cut pen. When it has been finished, you get a nibbed pen, and it has been carved directly into the end of the pen and split, so then it is ready to be dipped and written upon the paper. When they are wet from being in the ink, they will get wet. You set it upon leather to dry. The leather keeps it from dripping around. And you go to the next pen. That's why they are bought in packets. And when the packet is done, you go back to the first one, which will now be dry, and continue writing without having to stop your writing. Continues the time. When the nib is dull, then you can cut a new nib directly into the pen all the way up to the nub. So you actually get more than one pen out of each feather.
Do your clients bring the feathers back to you to recut the pens, or do they cut them themselves?
They learn to cut their own, hopefully. Hopefully, 'tis part of what we would endeavor them to do. I have had people come back and learn to cut pens, but it is time-consuming in that it takes very sharp, pointy objects to learn how to use. So you need to be old enough to use a very sharp knife.
An exactingly sharp knife, I think you said.
True, and a very exactingly sharp knife.
That's an adjective that hits hard even in the future.
Oh, aye, it is one that goes on and on.
All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your art with me. Can you tell me about your guild?
Guild of St. Cuthbert's, St. Cuthbert was up on the shores and he would go into the ocean and swim. One day he got too far out and the otters did bring him back to shore, which is why we do have otters about our guild, for we do form rafts and join hands in cooperation here at St. Cuthbert's. We do a great many things. Parades and pageants is what we are often known for, as well as we have Tea with the Queen and the Midsummer Tea. We have crafts here in our yard, from my feathers to leatherwork to wool crafts of all kind, all fiber crafts that we do here in our guild. And they feed me very well, just for having fun.
Can I ask one more question about St. Cuthbert, who I've never heard of? Where was he from? And
England and the Northern Islands, I'm trying to remember if it was, they would tell me, but it was up on the islands in the northern regions. I'm not remembering exactly which island. I want to say Iona, but I think that were another one in Ireland. So I would have to look up exactly where was his parish. But it is England and in the northern regions.
being saved by otters sounds a lot better than those types of martyrdom.
Well, this was while he was still alive. Yeah, he was still alive when that did happen. So 'tis well. And I have been here a great many years in this guild. I've been in the county, in the Shire, for 44 years. This is my 44th year in this town.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I have raised all 3 of my children in this town.
Have they joined you or taken on trades?
That they have. They have. My son, he were a sailor for some time. He did bring me my silver pen from a foreign land. My daughter is still working. She is now a sergeant with the military down at St. Michael's. And my youngest has been going to a higher education, and she will be coming here to help me with my pen. She has a better hand than I do in writing. And so she does help me with my writing.
Gwen, would you please read me the poem Dreams by Robert Herrick?
Dreams. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world.
Hello. I see you're holding a basket full of raw honey.
Yes, it is raw and local, so it's from local bees, locally bottled and sourced. Yeah.
Excellent. What brings you to the Renaissance Fair today?
We've been here probably since 2015. And so what a wonderful venue to sell out, and because we have a variety of flavors, so there's flavors for everyone. So yeah.
Tell me some of your flavors.
We have the original creamy, the traditional local, and then with the creamy honeys, we do cinnamon, lemon, mango, raspberry. We have a chai, a ginger, chocolate, vanilla, peppermint, coconut, and lavender. So yeah,
Whoa!
many flavors.
The fair is all about fantasy, and so is your honey.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What is the name of your hive or company? What do you
Holy
call it?
Honey. Company is called Holy Honey, yeah.
How did you come at that name?
Well, for us, honey's in the Bible many, many times, so we just share on the jar a little bit. And honey never spoils, just like God's word, in our opinion. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Honey actually never spoils? Could you explain that?
Yes, it doesn't. It's just, it'll last forever. As long as there's no moisture or other contaminants that get into raw honey, never goes bad.
Have they found ancient honey?
Yes, in tombs. Yeah, literally, that's still good. Yeah.
Wow.
It's an amazing product to carry as a food product, meaning that, you carry a food product, a lot of times you have spoilage. We never do, so yeah, it's very nice. Yeah. It's heavy though. It's very heavy to deal with. So
Heavy? Oh, like literally to bring it in and
Yes. So
assemble it at this.
But it's a lot of work, but very rewarding though. It's so delicious. And honey is the best sugar you can put in your body. It's just our body processes it a lot better than other forms of sugar. So
Would you mind reading this poem by Robert Herrick,
okay, well, I'll try it.
The Honeycomb, for me?
Okay. So, if thou hast found a honeycomb, eat thou not all, but taste on some. For if thou eat'st it to the excess, that sweetness turns to loathsomeness. Taste it to temper, then 'twill be marrow and manna unto thee.
Thank you so much. May I ask you to read one more poem before I go? This one entitled Dreams right here.
Okay. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled, by dreams each one into a several world. Here we are all, by day, by night we're hurled, by dreams each one into a several world.
Hello, I see that you have an array of vegetables and bread before you. Tell me what you're doing here.
We are preparing dinner for the Clan McCullen. We're down here from the Highlands. We have accompanied our chief because he has to pay his rents to the Queen. But you know, you cannae trust the English. They might take him for ransom. And we are poor people, we could not afford that. So, he has surrounded himself with family everywhere he goes. He has family about them. But I am the cook, so I have to make sure the family stays fed. So I'm working on dinner right now.
What is it that you're preparing?
I'm going to prepare a sauce that we will serve over some starch, and there's no meat here. We had the meat earlier. The cow wandered into the camp. The neighbors might ask about a cow, but you know nothing about it.
Okay, the secret is safe with me.
We don't, they're all...
You and 5,000 listeners.
They're
I
all
wish.
The cow is eating God's green grass under God's sun. It doesn't belong
God's
to
clouds
anyone.
today.
So, you know, they can't identify it any now.
Not now.
Now tell me what you do to entertain yourself while you're cooking. Do you ever sing songs?
We sing with each other, and we share gossip. I have a large family, of course. There's lots of gossip.
Do you have any favorite songs that you like to sing?
Indeed we do.
You want to sing a song, my dear?
Oh, which one do you want to do, darling?
Oh, I think Give 'em Mingale. That's pretty good.
Okay.
That's benign enough.
This is a song from the Outer Hebrides about boating back and forth, and
If you live in a small island out in the Outer Hebrides, then life on the sea and products from the sea is what feeds you.
Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward, tuning the lay. What care we though white the minches? What care we for wind or weather? Pull around, boys, every inch is wearing homeward, tuning the lay. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingale. Wives are waiting on the bank, looking seaward from the heather. Pull around, boys, and we'll anchor ere the sun sets on Mingale. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingale. Ships return now, heavy laden, mothers holding, bairns a crying. They'll return though ere the sun sets. They'll return to Mingale. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, bring her head round into the weather. Heel ya ho, boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Mingale. Sail
sailing homeward to mingle in.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Catherine, would you kindly read for me Dreams by Robert Herrick?
Here we are all by day. By night we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world. Here we are all by day. By night we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world.
Hello, I see you're wearing some pretty puritanical dress. Can you tell me about that?
Yea, in sooth, I am in Puritan. That is why I am wearing my puritanical dress. I have made this myself, and I am to show how humble and close to God that I am.
Okay, and the color scheme?
Black and white, yea.
Okay, very
Mostly
nice.
black.
And can you tell me a little bit more about your role in this fair today?
Absolutely. I am here to tell and remind everyone that they are filthy, heathenous sinners that are coming into my shire. I am reminding them of their true intention to the Lord, which is to go home, to go to church, and enjoy themselves there. Because if they come here, they'll just partake in sin, and it's gateway, really, what they call it. Yeah. It's bad, and it is not good for anyone. Yes.
Now, I have a poem that you might enjoy that I'd like you to read
All right, wondrous.
about the shame of fancy dress, and it's called Leprosy in Clothes
I love
by
this.
Robert Herrick.
Oh,
If you would go ahead and read that for me.
Wondrous well, all right. When flowing garments I behold, inspired with purple, pearl, and gold, I think no other, but I do see in them a glorious leprosy that does infect and make the rent more mortal in the vestiment, as flowery vestures do descry the wearer's rich immodesty. So plain and simple clothes do show where virtue walks, not these that flow. Ooh, I do enjoy that poem very much.
I thought that would be right up your
Ooh,
alley.
I like it very much. You said it were leprosy in clothing. Ooh.
Leprosy in Clothing. You can have that one for free, or courtesy of Robert Herrick,
Wondrous.
17th century.
Remember, see, you are obviously saved. You're a saved woman. I hope that you had a wondrous day around this shire.
Now, before I go, can I ask you to read one more quick poem by Robert Herrick?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's this one on the page entitled Dreams.
Dreams, all right. Here we are all, by day, by night, we're hurled, by dreams each one, into a severed world. Here we are all, by day, by night, we're hurled, by dreams each one, into a severed world.
I sort of wished I had asked this Puritan what sort of fantasy the role was fulfilling for her. Not a fun character at face value, but a lot of comic possibilities I suppose exist when you're condemning in an old-timey way. It was a good reminder of some of the more Spartan realities of the times that are all jumbled up and idealized at this event. I caught her as I was wandering out of the fair, but my my pixie box, died before I ran across my favorite person there, the awful vendor. Toward closing time, just before you get rudely ejected from collective hallucination into a jammed-up parking lot, there's a man with a tray of real uncooked kidneys and such, pretending to hawk his wares. It's a good gag, a great memento mori, and the realest thing at the fair. The awful congeals and reminds the passing crowds, in their explosion of fantasy and polyester, that the only real gossamer to be found here is on the wings of the actual flies, that gather on the spoiling meat. So that was my little collage of a day at the Renaissance Fair. I appreciate all these people, their voices, their willingness to talk and read Robert Herrick, even if he might have technically post-dated them, and their commitment to this special brand of living history. Here is Dreams by Robert Herrick, one more time, read by a young pirate named Henry.
Here we all are by day. By night, we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world. Here we all are by day. By night, we're hurled by dreams, each one into a several world.
And that was our poem. I hope it unfolded for you in a way which made you glad to make it your own. And I hope you can hold on to it, review it on paper, or let it live more like a song in your memory. Thank you to Susie Boyd for lending me this podcast's title, to GW Sock and the X for use of their song, The Art of Losing, which borrows the words of Elizabeth Bishop. And thank you to my sound engineer, Alex.
Disaster. Something every day, except the fluster of life.